Okay, problem number 3. Pretty straightforward test, hypothesis test, although they kind of word it a little funny for you, but basically they're just asking you to do a hypothesis test. So they have this information on the pump versus CPR, how many survived. The first question says the conditions for inference have been satisfied. State the conditions indicate how they're satisfied, which you would have done anyway, yeah? If they just said do a test, you would have listed the conditions. So this is a 2 proportion Z test. Somewhere you need to name the test, either here or down here, doesn't really matter where. 2 independent simple random samples. Sample size is big enough. N1, P1, N1, Q1, N2, P2, N2, Q2, 37, 15, 7, 17, 7, all greater than or equal to 10. They're not samples per se. I think if you put they were samples, it would be okay. It's really an entire population. It's an experiment, in essence, is what they're doing. But if you had N1, P1 hat, it'd probably be okay. And because it's the population, you don't need that third condition where you would normally say the population is at least 10 times the sample. We are just testing these people. It's an experiment, so a little fine tuning there on the experiment. Then run the tests. I need a null hypothesis. You got to write all this stuff. Remember, every test has the conditions, the name, the conditions, the hypotheses, the picture, the critical value, the test statistic, the p-value. Whoops, that should be a Z there, sorry. And then all the information. So your hypothesis is the proportion surviving with the pump. Sorry, this is the pump. Proportion surviving with a pump is equal to the proportion surviving using CPR. P1 equals P2. We're trying to show if the pump's better. So P1 is greater than P2. The survival rate. So be careful if you're using deaths versus survival. It's a right tail test because of the greater than sign. So critical value, all 5% over here, so that's a 1.645 critical value. I just ran the test. It's 2 proportions easiest, just typed in 37, 17, 15, 7, or 37, 7, 54, sorry, 15, 7, 46. I got a test statistic of 3.06. Very, very small p-value, 0.1%. I'm over in the rejection region, so I'm going to reject the null hypothesis. Since I'm rejecting the null hypothesis, evidence that the first proportion is greater than the second proportion, or evidence that the pump is better. In terms of grading, this is a 4-1. It's pretty typical in any hypothesis test where you have 4 parts. So this would be 1, the name, and this would be 2, or the name here, it doesn't really matter what. All that work is 3, and then your final conclusion is 4. So 4 EP. So pretty straightforward hypothesis test. Nothing too tricky on that one. Hopefully that was one all right. And hopefully you're not even watching this one because you knew how to do it.